found guilty of the 2010 bomb attacks in Uganda capital. The attack killed 74 people while watching a screening the World Cup. The Ugandan court convicted Idris Magondu, Hassan Hussein Agade, Habib Suleiman Joroge, and Muhammad Ali of murder. The maximum murder sentence in Uganda is death. Gentlemen, justice appears to be somewhat working in Uganda, in our neighboring country, whether we like it or not. Clay, can I have first go?
Justice, Uganda. It's probably, I mean, looking at it from a political point of view, like what has been going on, maybe you'd say, and then the gentleman has been there for ages, you might say that it cannot work. There's nothing like justice in Uganda. But I think looking back to, I mean, if you look at the families of those of the victims, the people who actually perished, and some of them were sole breadwinners and all that, for them they'll feel that actually justice has been done. And the fact that this thing was not, it was not done in a week, and it's taken quite some time. I mean, it might give the idea that actually yes, at least there was some process. They were not executed. I mean, wantonly and all that. At least there was some process. So either way, to the families, it is justice has been done. Probably to people who actually know that the process of how these people got arrested, the so-called terrorists, how they got arrested, to them, justice has not been done. Yeah, so I think it depends on how you look at it. It depends on how you look at it. But the whole point is, and that takes us back to security. If at all we had probably all, I mean, across EAC, East African Community, if at all we had proper security procedures or proper security, then you'd be sure that the person you arrest when such a thing happens is actually the person who was responsible.
Atambo, given that Al-Shabaab actually claimed responsibility for this, isn't that a win for the security services, intelligence, and the whole, prosecution system that actually piece the evidence together?
No, with today's ruling in Uganda, I think it's a big score for the Ugandan force and the judicial system and for the Uganda people. And I would love to see much of that being done here in Kenya, and especially when the militia groups come out and they take responsibility, And James, it's a bit unfortunate. I don't know whether to say it unfortunate, in the sense that of the 11 suspects, majority of them are Kenyans.
Yes.
Of Kenyan origin, and that's a point where it brings me to say, as a nation, we need to stop this idea of profiling and saying that the terrorists of this particular race or that or tribe. No. When you read those names of those who have been convicted, actually they're Kenyans, not necessarily of the Muslim or Somalia origin. You understand? Now, back to Uganda, it's a win for the country. At least people will have faith in the system. And with such, even the terrorists themselves, they take a backseat. Unlike here in Kenya, you arrest, you are taken to court, you get your bail, you are out, you are bond. Then the next time you arrest the same character to court, then you get him out again.
That time is
It's a mockery of justice.
I mean, actually, it's a mockery of justice for the Kenyan system.
Yeah. I would be interested in getting the details of the whole process, how it has gone. But I mean, looking at it from the basic principle of security and sanctity of human life, I think the wages of sin is death, and therefore it is right. But we would need to go into the specifics for us to be able to get that comparative, analysis of things, for us to be able to say then that perhaps there is a lesson or two for the Kenyan judicial system to learn.
The next thing, as we throw this into the discussion, is this: that Uganda has had, quite, fewer terror, incidents than us.
Oh, boss, you can't attack that country with the guy in charge.
No, Clay, what are you trying to say?
I mean,
I think really, I agree with Clay to some extent, because we've also seen ridiculous rulings coming from the Ugandan judiciary, and therefore for us to be able to celebrate at face value,
to celebrate.
That is why for me I said that maybe I would want to get the details of the ruling and the entire process before then we can use that as basis or predicate for us to learn anything or two as a judicial system. But then, I mean, terrorists,
actually,
they got their place.
Here you are talking about Judicial Service Commission appointing, and then we are challenging that. Can you challenge anything? Can you challenge anything in Uganda?
Actually, the chief prosecutor actually for the case was killed. She was killed, and that's why the case took some time.
Okay, 6 years, much later. But let's get back home. And there's an increasing spotlight on Kenya and Kenyan athletes in the past few months, especially so after that German documentary that alleged widespread doping in the Kenyan camp. Now, Kenya flip-flopped on new rules required to be passed by the anti-doping agency, missing several deadlines. The country is now requires to operationalize this law, which brings into life an anti-doping agency in existence. Finally, beating a final deadline. Now, the country is now required to operationalize it. Let's take a listen.
As a matter of fact, Honorable Speaker, the shortcoming may have been occasioned by the rush of this bill at the drafting stage at the Attorney General's office and probably the Ministry for Sports amendments they sent to the House.
It has been costly to the country, it has embarrassed the country. People had to travel all the way to Montreal to correct that. And that is what we started with. But having said that, it's also amazing to me that when the committee went through all this, with all the participation, the availability of the clerks and lawyers in the committees, how is it that we again missed the very essence which this bill was intended for?
Blame games. Nyakundi, you'll have the first go at this. How did we just mess up a simple law of...
I think it is not as simple as people want to imagine it was, but you know, I'm privy to what the process was at that point, and WADA have been very specific in terms of what they wanted included in the law. There is a WADA code, you know, and there are incidents where they wanted you to copy and paste the WADA code into the Kenyan law, and we had issues. I think we did about 7 drafts which were approved by WADA. The final one, which was the 8th, was sent to the AG's office and Parliament for publication, and I think we may have missed it, perhaps at the AG's office, and I think Parliament, they missed it in terms of getting it right. There is a bit of mischief in that, but I think to blame, the blame games, in my view, are not...
There's a growing conversation of the incompetence of, you know, the sports ministry, for instance, at Tango.
Now, James,
I think that is off tangent.
Hang on.
let me say,
Keep your cool.
Let me say this first. We are the home of champions. We should do anything to protect that particular integrity that we have. Now, when I look at this discussion, there's someone who failed. And someone who failed, in my view, it should be punished. Definitely, you need to be punished. And this stops you at the Ministry of Sports. I
want to bring in something into this. I think we must, the simplicity with which majority of the Kenyans, with all due respect, are looking at this whole issue baffles me, because we are looking at it from the exclusivity of running, athletics, as it were. But the doping question, WADA, goes beyond just athletics. It encompasses all the sports. And that is where the details that people are not getting. People are getting emotional because they think Kenya was going to be banned from participating in the Olympics because we have a chance of winning a few gold medals, or majority of the gold medals in running. But then the issue should be...
I get your point. Be as it may, there is someone who failed, and we've had 7 drafts, you said. We've missed several deadlines. Should we actually just be calling for a bit of competence and getting this done?
Somebody should take...
I want to get to that. I want to get to that. When we know the current system of governance, ministers, or CSs as it were, do not sit in Parliament. They do not...
They're the policy makers.
They're the policy makers. They inform the draft. They can go... They actually have a go to the committee.
The committee stage.
Exactly.
But then I am asking a question. If the minister, you know, has given what the policy issues are and what the WADA position is to Parliament, yeah, through the AG's office, and there are changes, what can he do?
So is the interesting part. The committee that is involved says they took word for word from the ministry on what that came out.
Can we get the 2 versions? What was originally sent from the ministry and what was published?
Let's have Clay wait.
I think what is happening is there's something that Kundi was trying to explain here, that we're treating this thing like it's just athletics, just running. Actually, not athletics, running.
People just running.
And we thought that, we're the country of champions and all that. do you know what you actually represent in the Olympics is not even one
It's not
20th,
even a-
1/20th of the disciplines in the Olympics. So actually, one more thing is that before I get to the fact that we need to get off our high horse and think that, and stop thinking that when we don't go to the Olympics will fail, we should stop thinking that way. They do not care.
That was a very unfortunate
We
statement.
never went for the 1980 Olympics.
And 76 as
and
well.
76 Olympics.
Actually,
and they
James, if you ask
continued.
me, they'll be more happy that Kenya don't participate.
No, they
No,
don't.
the-
That's
bottom
not
line
the
is-
point.
Bottom line is,
Yeah,
They'll be
and
more
I
happy.
agree with
You know,
Ken.
Nyakundi,
the thing is, what Nyakundi is saying is that, I mean, we should. There's a misunderstanding
Yeah.
of actually the whole thing. Where there's a time we kept on saying, "Oh, we want to withdraw from IOC." What we don't know is that when we withdraw from IOC, we cannot even participate in FIFA, and in football because FIFA is a member of IOC. We cannot participate in anything. So, to me,
Where
just
are
a
we
minute.
getting
Let me
this
get there.
stamping?
To me, the whole thing is we are very ignorant when it comes actually to sports. We do not treat this that seriously. And that's why we ended up at this level where now the thing goes and then it's brought back to us and we think that we are so strong that we can actually bulldoze WADA.
And I
You know,
think, and there's a point that I've consistently made. Let us stop being simplistic. Let us stop blaming people for things that essentially as a country
We
are
should
to
have
blame.
done.
It has taken us 54 good years of independence, more than 60 years since we first participated in international events to have a law against doping. That for me is evidence that as a country we do not care. All these years we've been running, we've been doing well.
and when we were told about doping, what did we say? We denied it.
We
denied it. And actually it is known even in our newsrooms. This is a
People
fact.
know this
We
stories.
know this. We know some of
I
our
wonder if
athletes.
Fanga
Yes,
could-
you see,
do you know
it's, we denied all these
Saying
things.
on this
We
panel
kept
as-
on
as-
denying.
as something that you
We
should
kept on
know.
denying that, oh, we are not doping
that
and
is
all
why-
that. Yeah, it's true.
You know, let us face it. The reality of this matter is that as a country, we failed. Because the people who failed us, the people who passed that law, represent us. They are 290 members of parliament who represent us, and we have another 47 or more who represent special interests. Let us not hide. Let us not blame one man who occupies that
I think
address.
let's say
I think he has
we
done
failed
his
as a
bit.
country
We
because
have failed.
going forward, this is not something that we've been taking seriously. I'll just give you a minor example. When the Kenyan boxer was banned from, was it the Sydney Olympics?
In Sydney, yes.
Yeah, what did we say? What did his fellow boxers say? Or let him say what he took, because Mira is not bad, because they don't even know actually the list of banned substances. We don't have an idea.
Hopefully I can have some, a cooler head, to
You see,
to
now
to
that
resolve
one
this.
brings us to the
Yes.
bottom line of
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I agree with this, my colleagues here, that we have failed as a country, right? Now, there are people who manage these events at the grassroots level. And this is where people need to be educated, to be given knowledge and be told, this is what the law says and this is what the law does not say.
You're
So
not
at-
hitting the right
No,
note.
at the end of the day now,
Exactly.
when we don't nurture these things from the grassroots level, we end up with what we are ending up right
I
now.
think the other problem, I think we also need to put this across, James, is that one of the issues that WADA raised with our bill, and that is something which we did with emotions, I can tell you some of the proponents of that particular bit, is to criminalize doping. And there is no country in the world that has done that.
I mean,
WADA
it's as much as I say, like, oh, you took Mira and you cannot run. You come back here and we jail you.
you cannot criminalize.
Yeah, you cannot.
You know, it's like someone eating ugali before a game and another one does spaghetti. The ugali one is stronger than you, and you're coming to say you want that
No, by
person
the-
to be tried
you know,
under the penal
no,
code. The bottom line is
Yes.
that is where we made a mistake. Those are the people who made the mistake. As a country, let's come back and tell ourselves, WADA has given us an opportunity. They gave us audience. The CS went to Montreal. They had a good conversation. That amendment bill, let the Kenyan people participate in it. Let the federation input into it so that we have a good document that is acceptable.
And that will be your final word on it. Finally, Speaker Justin Muturi, earlier today, kicked out nominated Member of Parliament Isaac Mwaura from Parliament. Let's take a look at what exactly Isaac Mwaura did or did not do.
Honorable Maura, you addressed like a person going for a beauty contest. That is not permissible. You are ordered out of the house. Go and be properly dressed. Order out of the chamber. Honorable Mwaura, I will not repeat. Out.
Well, there, Honorable Mwaura being thrown out on the pictures. 2 points. One, it's being in a beauty pageant is not a wrong thing, and Linda Ogutu actually believes that Mwaura should, be allowed to dress like this. I kind of support it. He looks flashy and looks good. I am sympathetic to his cause.
No, I think there's some things like for people to change how to dress, even in the court, how they dress, those wigs and all that. At least there had to be something. They passed something and they came to an agreement. And I think before we get to the level of dressing that nicely the way Mwaura was dressed, I think they need to pass, because there's some laws that they follow how they dress and all that. It's not like our profession.
What's wrong in that dress?
No, just a minute. It's just that he did not follow the rules of the house. And this is a very Kenyan thing. We don't want to follow rules and then we want to insist. See, I think just that the rules they have there are still colonial or whatever it is, but
my take.
I think the rules
did not mean what the standing orders calls for. The MP was, in my view, correctly dressed.
But
rules are there, they need to be followed, and if they don't follow, you don't expect common wananchi to follow rules. And you see, that will bring us to the whole issue of not following the rules in this country, and people wanting to circumvent even the constitution, what it says clearly.
The point is, if you're going to bed, you dress in your pajamas. If you're going to the farm, you dress appropriately.
Like a farmer.
There are standing orders, and they guide. The dress code is one of the, provisions of the standing orders. I'm not quite sure which particular standing order, but there is. Yeah. You cannot be so casual about going to parliament. It's like going to the farm and you're dressed in a suit and looking all flashy.
And I need to say one thing, like for me as Mwaura, as a person actually who represents special interests, that's quite a disappointment. I mean, he should be the one to start following the rules. And just to say something, by the way, he already made his money for today, yeah, because he made an appearance, yeah. But I think if the rules, no matter how bad they are, that you need to follow them. If you want to break them, they tell us follow. We need to follow the constitution. They need to change the rules from within, the dressing rules. And for me, I think that was quite a disappointment. I'm very disappointed, and this is a problem of actually thinking with your fingers and taking it.
What I would say is this: for me,
real life,
it's very disappointing. Like Clay says, they are lawmakers.
Yeah,
we are supposed to follow those laws. Clearly, this exposes the rogue nature of this parliament, with all due respect, that they can do things casually. I mean, the other day we saw members of parliament, whistling in parliament and then pouring water on each other.
We make these laws, we can break them anytime.
I
think it's
an absurd situation.
Perhaps Mwaura had his own errands to run thereafter, so he just wanted to appear, be chased out.
We give those guys a car grant of 5.5 million shillings. You can carry your suit or whatever appropriate dress in that car and change.
We've had this kind of situations before where actually the times when, probably I'm driving and it is very feminine, I carry an extra pair of shoes in the boot.
That's the point
actually,
we give them a car grant of 5.5 million shillings. Smart, I'm sure.
Perhaps he was making a point and
I think he made it in the wrong way. He made it the wrong way. Yeah, but actually, the bigger picture is this.
He's going to the house for crying out loud.
The bigger picture is this.
And there's a dressing code when you're going to the house.
What point would that be?
The bigger picture is that in Kenya, we don't have laws. We have proposals. You may follow them.
We have laws,
but we treat them like proposals.
We have laws. It's only that people don't follow the laws.
We treat them like proposals.
Right? Final thoughts?
We choose not.
Today was a happy day for me with the ruling. We need to uphold the separation of powers, and this is something we need to ground and be grounded completely.
All right. 10 seconds.
For me, I think watching everything that has happened today, I think we need to be a more steadfast nation, and we need to actually follow the same rules that actually we have set. We need to be grounded in the same rules, and that's how the only way we can move forward, because we tend to be a little bit too wishy-washy. Yeah.
Nyakundi?
I think mine is that this country is a great country, and unless we, the Kenyan people, take our rightful position, be steadfast, hold everybody accountable, then I think the trajectory that we are headed for, if we continue the way we are, I think it is really worrying for me. We must talk to each other as a nation, and if that happens, I think we have an opportunity to
right.
rescue the ship and get back on course.
Atambo, Muganda, Kundi, you've all done very well. You can take the rest of the day off. So that's it for us here on News Sources.